Starts to build.
Somehow or another, in that great season where Tug McGraw uttered those words, "You gotta believe."
It's all over. It's all over. The New York Mets have won the National League Championship.
It wasn't just you gotta believe the Mets are gonna win the pennant and they're gonna win the World Series. It was, you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in something beyond yourself. You gotta believe in us as a community, both New York and for us as Catholics, the church as community.
Baseball is more than just a game, this Americans know. But to John Sexton, the president of New York University, it's a road to God and a base path to a more meaningful life.
Baseball helps us get to the dimension of faith because it helps us in this world of hyper-stimulation and hyperactivity to see the action between the pitches, to see the meaning in very small things like the change of a count or the number of outs or the time in the game. You begin to notice the beauty of small things, and part of moving to the dimension of faith is to move deeper and deeper and in a way more slowly and intensely into the mystery of creation.
Throughout his book, Sexton reveals the common playing fields between the game and religion. Like many religious experiences, Sexton told me that baseball fans can have their own conversions. He grew up a devout Dodgers fan in the shadow of Ebbets Field, but today he wears a Yankee hat.
1969 happened. And you said, wait a minute, 1969 was the miracle year for the Mets. And it was. But more importantly, 1969 was when my son was born. And I knew that I would give him a religion, so he was baptized. But I knew that more important and more permanently, I would give him the teams for which he rooted. I think the 50s Catholic in me chose tradition with a capital T. The monuments and the saints of Ruth and Garrick and so forth. I probably privately continued to root for the Dodgers until the mid-70s when the Dodgers and Yankees began to play in the World Series. And I was faced with the fact of rooting against the team for which my 6- and 7-year-old son was rooting. And I just couldn't do that. So it was really an act of agapeic love in the best Christian sense for me to give up my beloved Dodgers for my son.
But the Diamond also had its saints and sinners, perhaps the most notorious, Ty Cobb.
Was Ty Cobb, who was a scurrilous, depraved human being, a saint? Well, if you narrow the focus enough and you say, well, I'm only going to take what he did between the stripes, you know, he was magnificent in terms of his results. Well, what about the fact that he slid into second with his spikes high to try to deliberately injure the other player? Saints are complex people. And we're told as well that sinners are complex people because we're all sinners, and even the greatest of sinners has a chance for salvation. So one of the things that both baseball and theology teach us about saints and sinners is don't be too quick to categorize people.
And perhaps the biggest tie between baseball and religion? Unexplainable faith.
The deepest and deepest meanings of faith touch a dimension that can't be captured in our cognitive categories or our words. We feel it intensely.
And that feeling? It's the love of the game. Reporting for Currents, I'm Michelle Powers.